Good.
If you go Everfrost, it means they are rooted and you can walk up to them in your
Infinitely, yes.
in your poopy pants form.
Yes.
And also, if you are on your horse, you can freeze them in place so that you can actually get the foot. Okay, I'm buying it. I'm buying it.
Okay. I am
don't
not.
think it's gonna happen.
Yes. I will not buy even the thing that I am peddling right now. Instead, it's more likely going to be Pun building a lot more of the AP, probably going for Rod of Ages. Drakthar with Aftershock. I always see Radiant Virtue with this. And then my personal favorite is you go Redemption, or you can actually go a crazy item, which is Mikhail's. You go Mikhail's second because you don't really need the combat stats at that point. You're not really that pressed about being like this insane kind of frontliner. Like you're not going to be that big anyway. The Aftershock will keep you alive for a little bit of time, but for the most part, you're just better off having a bit more utility than anything else. But nonetheless, we're in a game where we're starting things off. Pun versus Hosmed in the top lane gets our first camera look. No crazy level ones, nothing insane like that. Instead, it's a bit of relaxation to begin with.
Yeah, with the Aftershock, I mean, with the support build up, Maokai's, I do also see the Aftershock just to give you some durability, since you are not really buying anything, getting any real defensive stats out of a Moonstone, but we do move to these level 1s top side clears for both of these junglers wanting to try and impact the spot lane, and that makes a decent amount of sense. Artemis is not going to be doing a hell of a lot until, well, probably level 6, you'd sort of imagine. As it is, Shogun is going to have complete wave control, rocket form, and range is just going to do a lot.
Ooh.
Looks like that is a perfect timing on the level 2.
You wear the hooks.
Up.
Okay. Guri in the mid lane, not able to find anything.
And Guri not going to find anything, and with himself shown, that gives a little bit more awareness to the side of Cerberus to play out the early game how they want, but as we see, Taki can just leave the lane and all is fine. You can cheat it back for a call as well, and you're really just hoping nothing explodes in your face before Artemis can get to the point where he starts to explode.
Yeah, there's also not... Yes, Taki is on a ward. There are not really great ways to handle Artemis either in this game. Like, Thresh Flay is not a terrible one. Guri kicking Samira out of a play is also another good one. A Charm can get blocked. A Hook can get blocked. Gnar Ultimate isn't exactly the most, kind of crazy, most consistent to be able to use. The trap line can get blocked. So there's so many options for Artemis to just not get hit that I am curious where the consistent form of knocking Samira out of fights is going to come from, as Taki... he kind of walks right past Drakthar and Ron OP. They knew where they were for the majority of that time, so they're not too pressed about what just happened. Instead, just going to continue to farm up. And the Jinx is going to feel comfortable. As long as Samira and Tristana are not just like constantly in the face of Shogun, they're going to feel okay in this game. Nothing too insane, I don't think. Shogun should be able to work pretty easily from front to back. If it's Maokai and Rel and such that he's fighting, I think Shogun's going to be being chilling most of the time.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too hard. Shogun should have just outranges a good chunk of Cerberus' composition. Flanks, of course, can be dangerous. There is a lot of potential between Pun and Drakthar to get on top of someone like the Hosmed.
Flash, W. Oh, actually, a really, really solid flash from Hosmed gets him out of a really bad situation. It was close. Both of them took a tower shot right there, but it's a nice gank into topside that ends up getting that first blood over Cerberus, as it's Drakthar who finds the play on a Pun. He wants the smoke. Give him the smoke. Get him, Guri. Yeah, what are you gonna do about it? Oh, you got slowed up. I think that should probably spur in the end of it, as Guri doesn't want to actually go fighting into these two members. Although there was no mana on Gragas. I'm a little shocked that Guri didn't want to play more aggressively there, but without tagging the Q, ended up having a bit of a problem. So this was weird. It was a solid play from Hosmed. Got rooted up after the E, still got away pretty decently. And then obviously Guri came in on the play afterwards.
Yeah, okay. It looked a little bit weird because he sort of buffered the hops, and it still registered Drakthar underneath him, so he got it off as he was rooted. So it looked really strange, and I was surprised he was able to get that off. But hey, there you go, free Nartek for anybody watching. You can avoid him. You can bounce off a twisted advance.
Sure can. Pretty cool stuff. It didn't matter anyway. Hosmed goes down. Now, Artemis actually with a serrated Dirk to kick off the laning phase, which is a very mean kind of item spike to start here. That's going to swap this lane from being a bit more poke from Taki and from Shogun into having to play a bit more respectfully, just so that, again, if Ron OP gets a solid engage, then you don't have to worry. Now, out of fairness, earlier Taki actually hit a hook through the ignite down onto Rano P. That prevents him from jumping in, so it is a bit of wind taken out of the sails of the bottom lane. But the neutralized CS does speak a story of respect that has to be given towards the Samira pick for Artemis, as it can jump in and really, really be menacing towards this Jinx. Is back to topside. Hazmed is here. Pun once, I think, was trying to look for an angle on the ultimate, but knows that he's probably not going to get close enough. Had to flash. You get a flash ulted and then used E or something like that to disrupt. The key would have been enough after all of that to kill Hazmed, but instead just decides to let live and let live, walk away and continue keeping the wave where it's at right now.
Yeah, with Artemis is also, well, Samira rather, is one of the only champions that actually kind of likes Collector. The way it interacts with her ult, it's very likely to proc. I vote. So the early Dirk is something I tend to think it's a bit of a waste of money on the likes of the Lucian, maybe even the Draven, even though the Clips can be a viable purchase there. But on Artemis, on Samira, I don't mind it. As Froggy wants to go in.
Action. Draktar's already dropped to well below half health. Brano P came out of W, was trying to find something. Froggy's going to get rooted up in place. That's going to be at least one. That's a lot of damage to start with. As Guri's going to try to get out. Shogun's going to try to put some additional damage in. That's going to be the block from Artemis. That prevents a couple of autocats from coming through. Shogun's going to try to get something. He's getting excited. That's 2 kills now for Shogun, who's going to be able to kite backwards towards the rest of this. And now in that kind of unarmored stance on a horse stance, there's a chance here. Brano P's trying to run at Shogun, trying to get something. And being no longer excited. Will he be able to get anything? W's going to catch. Taki might be here. Might be trying to look for something. Does he? Q's going to come out. And that's going to force the flash of Yato. This is, I think, a 2 for 2. As Saigon Buffalo able to get 2 kills onto Shogun in that fight is a big win for their squad. Rado P sticking around. I think a little longer than he would have wanted. But that hook is not available for Taki. So not going to end up costing that much.
Yeah, you see the difficulty for Cerberus right there. They can't catch onto Shogun. Froggy goes pretty deep. But Drakthar is chunked so damn low. Mm-hmm. And with Drakthar being basically out of the fight, it's really insane how much damage they actually managed to do to Froggy and Guri in just that in that AoE. It's a double kill for Samira, so that is good. You're very happy with that. It's traded for the double kill onto Jinx, but all in all, it comes out okay. It comes out even. You got my head a little bit for SGB on the grounds that Shogun gets to farm the next wave, but everything is a-okay for Cerberus until it might not be.
Okay, kick immediately. That is a charm. That is a hook, and Yato's not going to be able to get out. Guri is going to be able to find a kill. This is a nice little combo move onto Yato. It's not able to find any sort of escape onto this Tristana. Should also open up the dragon now because you're now down an entire member. Not going to be able to get anything else to deal with. As Saigon Buffalo grabbing up their Hextech or Hextech Drake, my apologies, is this going to come through. Not to mention a little bit of free farming for Shogun on the bottom side. It was a back that came through from Artemis after only like another wave, so they did get a quick look. This is like textbook. Like, what are you supposed to do here? Charm, like, when do you cleanse? When do you do anything? Like, you're CC'd to death. Like, Yato, you're not going to be able to buffer any of that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, maybe, like, no, there's no real way to buffer that kick, that rocket jump, so no flash, no buster shot, nothing you can do. Just a nice, quick, clean kill, and nice roam from Taki. Taki and Guri have been linking up extremely well over the course of the split. Outside that first series, that's a charm. That's Yato will jump away.
Yeah. He's able to get away, but he's down half health right after dying and coming back to lane. Does have the Vamp Scepter, which is a nice little bit of something. You have the refillable as well, so Yato can stay in the laning phase. But again, making it difficult. Curry is putting some pressure, trying to get Froggy involved in this game, which I think is valuable because trying to find an assassination on multiple members before fights really start is big. Fights on both sides of the map right here. As you can see, that is a big pull coming in from the Rel. Able to get one. Artemis also able to get stacked and throw that S ultimate coming out as an additional kill going down for the Samira. Other side of the map, looks like the fight didn't pan out so much. Artemis almost dies to the combination of the turret shots and the rocket. Shogun just doesn't have the damage for it quite yet. Now there's no way Artemis is going to be able to stay. Guri is really threatening here. Has the Dragon's Rage kick as well. So if you don't leave, you're going to be in bad straits. And that means that Draktar is kind of on his lonesome here. Going to jump over the wall. Guri, just kick him. Q, file through, E, auto. And there's that. And now Yato, going to probably try the exact same thing. Going to get a fully stacked... Oh, Buster Shot's just barely not able to kill him. Thought there was a possibility of it actually bringing him down. He was only a couple hundred health away from dying. About 100 health away from dying. Froggy, can he hit the charm?
He
Actually, he does hit the charm, gets the last W. It doesn't matter. Not enough damage on the Q to actually bring him down. It's just another 2-for-1 here for Saigon Buffalo.
Yeah, Froggy with that charm actually ends up saving Guri's life because he can't. Yado can't weave in that extra auto attack after the Buster Shot to finish it off. Finish off Guri. And Artemis just getting really greedy there. We did actually see. Actually, no, nothing in the top lane actually really amounted to much. Houseman went for an attempt with the ultimate, but no, there's no change in this scores up there. So Pun happily sitting there, small lead for himself, happily moving along towards that roller. All is well, all is fine. So in the end, so where we come up to now is both AD carries feeling a little bit accelerated. Jinx able to get to that Kraken Slayer first because she didn't stop off at the deck. But it's fine for Artemis. He's getting close towards his shield bow, and with that he can be a little bit more aggressive. He can go all in with much more abandon. He just needs to a bit less abandon when it comes to walking through tower.
That is true. That is very true. Okay, so plated steel cap should be done after just a little bit of time. Should be a shield bow coming here for Armistice. That's going to be kind of popping up here in just a bit of time. Is ahead of Shogun in gold because of the turret plates on bottom side. Got those couple of kills in the fights, just a little bit ahead in that regard. And so eventually this coal is going to pay out, which I think will neutralize a little bit of that advantage. But right now, Shogun and Artemis both feeling good. It's a question of how well can this team kind of set up around Artemis and his ability to go diving in. Yado's the exact same way, where you want to be able to do both. Froggy getting jumped on by Yado. Not actually going to go in with a second rocket jump. The charm was saved by Froggy. The heal was saved by Froggy. Maybe a bit of a bait by the mid laner here, just knowing that Yado was maybe going to get fooled into thinking he had any sort of ability to bring him down, when in fact that was not the case. Instead, Rift Herald's going to get dropped here. It's going to buy space for Yado to maybe get a demolish proc off. The bomb was used on the wave, which I am a little baffled by. I feel like you should have saved it for the turret, as Yado is going to end up getting pushed off. Guri is here for the defense. They do get their 2 part plates, and that's going to be that for that play. So even more gold kind of poured into Yado here.
Yeah, Yado trying to just shove the wave as best as he can so he can actually get that auto attack down onto the tower. But nice aggression shown from Froggy means that all the gold does go into the hands of Drakthar instead of Yado. Not quite in range to actually get that reward, but still, it's a very low tower. It is a Tristana. That tower should fall down pretty soon.
Yeah, that's the demolish.
Yado getting first break is going to be will be wonderful for him whenever he gets around to it.
Yes, just decides not to go for anything crazy there, and instead he's just going to walk away. At 4 plates, again, the Tristana is getting decently accelerated, almost on first completed item. That's going to feel good for you if you are Yado in this game. The Samira as well, the dive buddy. No. That's a lot of members coming up here for Pun, who does not know anybody is going to be here anytime soon. Wow, Pun, the instincts to be able to go. Okay, that is a nice kick. That's going to be a very nice play. That's going to lead to Froggy getting a kill, which I think is absolutely necessary in this game. It's going to lead to Hosmed being able to push as well. That was an ultimate from Drakthar that was trying to catch Shogun. Had to pop the ghost to get out, but doesn't have to pop the flashes. Artemis going to get bottom tower for free as a result. And Cerberus is loading up Artemis to be this gun for the team. This is the OG strategy for Cerberus. We've known them for years, and this has been their go-to. Is just, okay, let's ramp Artemis in a team fight. Maybe usually it's on a hyperscaler, but you know what? I think Artemis is always more comfortable when he's the one pulling the trigger on fights and being able to kind of pull the trigger on plays. And so on something like Samira, that's absolutely going to be something very valuable, as I think they left up the timeline on the bottom and had to redo the replay.
Yeah, it's not too bad for that one. Not much to say. Flashing didn't flash the Q, flashed late, and that meant Guri could just flash himself and put you right back into harm's way. Pun didn't have his ultimate, and in the end, it gets traded for 2 towers and a dragon, and Pun just didn't even lose his tower. He was able to teleport straight back up there, and the Skarkus has pretty good wave clear, so you can't shut him down fully. And so Cerberus just winning pretty hard across the map. About almost a 2k gold lead, about 1.5. And now they can start moving their carries around. They can park Artemis into the mid lane for farm. They can move Yado into the top lane to mine turret plates. And all is cozy in the Cerberus camp as they slowly scale up towards that big team fight. There's 2 or 3 items where Artemis can just shred an entire team.
And the potential threat against Shogun is it's still massive with the double diver, and even like the Gragas barrel coming through eventually could be a really kind of devastating blow to Shogun's health bar, who went for Kraken Slayer to play this front-to-back team fight effectively. So how do you handle then the double diver? Because like Samira with the W is going to be really hard to actually mess with if you're anybody. Like Froggy's Charm is not going to be able to tag him most of the time. Maybe you'll be able to deal with Tristana like that, but nobody else is Drakthar. You get caught up here by Froggy. Everfrost's going to stick him in place. Pops the ultimate just to be a bit more threatening. They're going to hide behind Taki, and nothing will come about except Drakthar just gets to clear some wards for free. But yeah, how do you deal with this double dot? Like, who's peeling this Jinx in this fight?
Yeah. Taki is basically playing full peel. I think he's not going to be fishing for very many hooks. It's going to be up to Guri and Hasmet to try and make the aggressive plays. Taki is going to be playing follow-up CC and also the flays around the Samira. That's how I think it's going to pan out. Maybe Taki will prove me wrong. He's definitely been known to. He's definitely had some insane plays. But all in all, but I feel just with what options you have, you kind of need him standing right next to Jinx or on the angle to get the lantern away from Samira. So he's either next to Jinx to hit the flay, or he's standing right back so Shogun can immediately click the lantern the moment he sees Artemis get a little feisty.
This is really interesting because somehow, despite like so many structures going down and none falling so far for Cerberus, they're only ahead about 2,000 gold, which is kind of wild that they've taken 3 full turrets in exchange for Saigon Buffalo's 1 kill of advantage, and still the advantage doesn't feel that dramatic. The one problem is Artemis has a ridiculous amount of this gold. I mean, you're seeing BF Sword, Serrated Dirk, and also having the Immortal Shield Bow on top of the plated steel caps means that it is a lot that Artemis has going for them inside of some of these big fights, which now is going to start to come into play. You've got Rift Herald coming up in a minute. That's a bit of a catch, but Pun is decently bulky, so you're not going to worry about it too much. Froggy trying to help out Hosbet and get him unleashed in the side lane to be able to go aggressive against the tower, but not going to happen.
Yeah, it does end up with Buffalo having a lot of potential standing gold as the ult is used to clear the wave. Now Taki's here, this could be a dive.
Focus down the tower. There's a TP coming in. I don't love the TP, and the tower being broken means that it's not even going to matter anyway, so it's just a wasted TP. Now the kills on a Taki, which is a bit rough, but outside of that, a nicely executed bot dive here to make sure that they get something back. Yato knows he's unresponded, which means that he can go after this top tower, probably take this top inner tower for basically nothing. Jinx has to rotate out of mid lane because of the fear. I mean, Saigon Buffalo sold the farm for that kill on that turret. I'm not sure exactly what the intention was behind this play, but you're clearly losing in this situation. Even with the kill added on, you're just not getting enough back in recompense to make up what Yato is currently pulling on the side of the map right now.
Yeah. I mean, you also have to consider it's in a tower. They are worth a lot more gold than the outers. So with the kill, it comes out just about even, I think, in the gold trade. But the map pressure of having that in depth, of having that deep push into the top lane is gonna just benefit Cerberus in the long run. So all in all, they're committing a lot. It could have turned around potentially if Yato had teleported to a minion or a ward instead of the tower. But in the end, it all kind of works out okay. And now Buffalo are they're still not that far behind. It's still only that 2k. And of course, that's with 3 extra towers left to grab. I'm not quite sure where this extra gold is coming from. There's a few CS leads. There was that cull. That doesn't feel like it should be enough to counteract the extra towers. Maybe I guess more plates fell than we noticed. I'm not sure.
Maybe. One way or another, it actually seems like Shogun has slowly climbed back up to basically same itemization. It is Infinity Edge completed now for Artemis, which is going to help with that ultimate damage. It does ramp that pretty well. The Serrated Dirk is going to help with a bit of penetration as well. Wave is cleared, but I don't know that they're going to be able to stop the charging of the Rift Herald here, as Shirley wants some real damage to the structure.
Yeah, and between that
a nice
and
hook.
hold that.
Nice charm. The tower's dead very, very easily. Ultimate got absorbed. Shogun threw the ultimate to try to pick off Pun, but it's not going to be enough, as that is an excited Shogun trying to find something with the Ghost. Instead, they're just going to be able to walk away. They just bully down mid-tower, and it does not matter. Now Dragon available as well. But Hosbet on the split push, trying to find something on the other side of the map. Nobody's here to respond. It is Samira who's going to be up here first, and that's going to lead to them ditching. You got to think Dragon's got to be the play here, right? Like Ocean Drake is available here for Cerberus Esports. They're risking maybe the Baron going down, but I don't think that they're that worried. I feel like they would take a fight around the Baron and just win the fight, even if Saigon commits fully to the Baron. So I'm not sure. They're just they're poking at it right now. It looks like there's 2 members that are finally on the Dragon, and that should be sufficient for them to grab that advantage.
Yeah, Artemis and Ron should be enough dissuasion from the Baron, especially this early on. Pumpkin, of course, also joined fairly quickly, so I think just not quite. Yeah, just gonna have to settle for the fact that Harsman was able to split push a tower down. Going now for the wit's end, going to keep up that side lane pressure. He wants to keep the pressure on. He's not gonna be that sort of lurking around, constantly trying to team fight, sort of tank nah that we sometimes see. And I think this works out better for what Harsman's sort of playstyle tends to be. He likes to be a bit more of a carry, a bit more damage, than really find those big angles that, like, he can find them on the nah, he has found them in the past, but he's not that, he doesn't have that same sort of intuition for tank play, for those team fight angles. So I'm pretty happy with what he's doing right now. Pun, he's built some AP, he is going to be the lone AP threat, but because of that, his damage is definitely going to stick, because nobody's going to really try and itemize for him except Harsman.
Cerberus on the Baron, they're actually in a really, really good position right now. Hook onto Pun, but there's no way for Gray to get in at this moment. They got to find a way in now. That's going to be a steal. As now the fight afterwards might be something. Froggy is able to get out of the pit at minimum. Now the fight afterwards is the question. Trying to prevent everyone from coming through. Ron P able to be a lot more menacing, but nobody on Cerberus is able to catch anybody on Saigon, so they're able to walk out relatively for free. I think it was Flash from Gurry and from Froggy, as well as a couple of ultimates, but that is a big win. Cerberus now going to be able to set up pushing, definitely going to be able to set up the next Dragon. They've got more than enough compensation now on the map. Like, they're feeling great. Like this Samira has had nothing but free time to go scaling to prepare for team fights.
Yeah, all the engage tools used to keep Gurry out of the pit. I got a little bit scared when the Gragas barrel went wide, but in the end they managed to get it together. Ron committing his full ultimate over the wall to keep out the Lee Sin, an easy Baron pickup, and now the waves. Yeah, I mean they can easily set up for Yato to just rotate around, take down this tower in the bot lane, take down an inhibitor, which really should be the goal of this Baron, given how many towers have already fallen. Just need to find the angle, try and sink the waves and make them crash properly. So that's going to be a high value sweeper for sure. And now this bot side control is all they're after. They want to run this Baron through, use that to set up control for the next Dragon, and take this game home pretty comfortably. Because at this point, it's going to take a pretty impressive team fight from the side of SGB to bring it back. Looking for a big flank angle for a good kick from Gurry, a big gnarl from Harsman, and then Shogun trying to run it down. But Froggy has not been able to have the same angles as before. Cerberus has just a lot more tools to keep him at bay. Good hook.
Here we go. Ultimate coming through from... actually knocks Gurry back into the rest of the team, who's going to be able to jump out. That's actually going to be a kill immediately. That's going to get Jinx excited. Now you have to worry about nice play to get Artemis out of that fight. Shogun's trying to deliver damage forward. He's doing an okay job of it, but that's a triple kill already for Samira in this fight, as that's going to be way too simple. Shogun's trying to drop rockets, trying to get some kind of damage. That actually might be an execution right here and right now. 2 members remaining on Saigon Buffalo. Can they actually do anything? I don't know that they can actually force into Artemis in any capacity in the slightest. It's really, really difficult.
Here's a wave.
Yes, that's going to be first tower going down very, very easily. Shogun's got to try to figure out a way to clear this wave, but I don't think it's going to happen. That fight was the death sentence that was necessary. Cerberus, so vicious in finding their way to 25 minutes. Now SGB chasing Cerberus on the way out of the base. They have to try to not lose every single member, because it could lead to quite a bit of issue. Shogun got excited because of that play coming out and clear more wave. Looking at the Dragon as well, that's another really big thing. Artemis has to use the W to make sure that you don't lose that. Pun is coming into the midst of everything. Has to flash immediately over the wall so they don't find anything else. As Saigon Buffalo running back up mid lane, they're looking for more. Run OP nearly gets executed. Now Artemis is going to get shorted down. They're going to be able to find him a shutdown on a Gurry. That's a huge play. And now, can you find even more? Froggy trying to go forward, trying to find additional damage. Yato not going to get caught up, but he's going to die to Shogun. who throws out a W. And now Saigon Buffalo recovers a bit from that base push. Only thing left was a Nexus pun! Gets an assassination on a Shogun out of nowhere. And now down there, ADC. Not going to be able to push for much. Maybe they can look at the Dragon. That's the only thing I can think that they would want to push for here at this point in the game. Maybe have to give it up anyway. After all of that, they are able to drive Cerberus out of their base at the Nexus point. But Cerberus has done completely unresponded damage here.
Pun, pretty much saving the turnaround, because if Buffalo had taken that tower, that's a bounty. That's a huge gold swing back for Buffalo. They picked up a ton of kills. And we see here they just didn't quite respect the death time, as they took a little long, and once Jinx gets rolling, she can absolutely chase her down. The buffs to the zap coming in huge, just landing zap after zap, trying to keep the slows, let them chase forever. And this ultimate, they seas part and Ron OP takes the pain from it. They do the best. Samira goes down. The gold falls onto Guri, which is not ideal, but it's fine. Shogun gets so much gold injected. Pun does shut her down, though, so
yes.
Nothing
and now 4,000
came from it.
4,000 gold. Shogun did pick up Infinity Edge, which was a big kind of limiter to the damage that Shogun was putting out, was that I was waiting for them to try to get him onto Infinity Edge, and that fight happened. Able to recover. Dragon did go to the way of Cerberus, which means that you have one until Soul Point. You got Ocean Soul on the way. If Samira gets out of Soul Point, I don't think they actually have built any healing reduction. I do not know if Samira dies inside of fights, if that's the case. You have to be super cautious about allowing that one to come through, which means that Saigon Buffalo basically is now put on a 4-minute and 15-second timer and says,
there it is.
Can you fight us here? Can you fight us at the end of this? I don't know if they can, because right now Samira seems very, very difficult to deal with.
There's one orb completed, so there will be some Grievous Wounds applicable to Artemis if Froggy can land pretty much anything. A Foxfire will do it. Gonna see if Artemis can complete this collector, or whichever the item they are currently going for. They might end up selling the Dirk to get a Bloodthirster in the works, but if they get that fourth item set up, it's not gonna happen before the Baron, never mind. So now they're just gonna probably just say, all right, we're gonna sit here at Baron, try and bait you into a fight, and then what are you gonna do? Currently losing mid-wave pressure though.
Yeah, TP out of mid lane to make sure that they have some kind of pressure towards Baron buff when the time comes. Bottom wave is pushed out super far as well. I believe that Hosmet just got back from doing that, and now top wave is pushed in by Yato. It's attempted claim. Look at all this vision that's established in the river right now from Cerberus. They don't really have a lot of super deep vision. They got one in the red buff. They got run right over the Baron wall. They don't have much more to watch the approach necessarily from Saigon Buffalo. So I think that's what this is going to be, is they're going to transition into the river. They're going to put down some of the shallow water. You see Rado P already did that, and now they're going to start up this Baron buff as Yato has the Bloodthirster. You've got healing on Samira as well. They've got more than enough, down to 9, down below 10k. Rado P on the outskirts trying to prevent this from happening. They're going to walk into the river, and they got to do something. Hosmet is wrecking Rado P right there. He's into the backline. Ghost Tractor going to be able to find one. Knocked in is everybody, as I believe it's Jinx. Yeah, Shogun just gets absolutely decimated in the midst of all that. Guri tries to jump in and find something against Yato, but it's not going to happen, as there's just no damage to work with. Hosmet throws one into the wall. That's going to be a first. Artemis now pops the ultimate. Is going to absolutely decimate Hosmet as well, as there's no damage really left on the map. Froggy's completely out of the fight. Taki has half his health bar, but it doesn't matter. GP coming into the bottom lane to try to get something, but I don't think it actually matters, as that's going to be the end of the game right then and right there. That play from Drakthar, getting onto the Jinx at the last possible moment, really did make all a world of difference to closing this game out. As again, Saigon Buffalo lives up to their name. 3-game series again. I think they've had 1 2-game series all split. They are going to their 3rd game, and against